sometimes I do just think that life is a bit unfair sometimes. Whenever you've been dealt a pretty bad hand with potential circumstances, even at birth, things that just randomly happen to you that are of no fault of your own, things that are bad that can happen, it just seems a bit unfair sometimes. And this applies to the way that the world works as well. It all does kind of seem a bit unfair. It's just like, why does this seem to only benefit certain people and not others? And you just kind of have to have those ponderous thoughts in your head, and you're just sort of reflecting and thinking like, why is this the way it is? Why has no one decided to step up and change it, whether it's peacefully or whether it's sheer aggression and violence and proper force to change something that exists in the world through like unspeakable torturous means. I mean, you probably would have had some of these thoughts, especially to do with the way that society works. You've got these big, massive companies that make loads and loads of products, some of which are relatively sketchy when it comes to our health, with all the whole BPA scandals and acrylamide and all that sort of stuff that exists sort of chemically and scientifically. But they disregard us, the citizens' sort of health, because these things only have long-term effects. So it's not like big. It's not going to kill you immediately. It's not like an immediate poison, but it's going to have long-lasting effects. It's not necessarily going to kill you, but it's going to have some kind of damage. It's still going to affect you negatively without you necessarily even knowing it. And when you have these realizations, when you do the research and you're just like, why, how does this happen? How is no one sort of angry enough and has so little self-control that they've literally just decided to like go on some kind of serial killing spree of all of the big people, the big companies that have just made these products that have such adverse effects on our health. And it's such a weird thought, because you must think there's probably someone out there, whether it's you, probably not me, because I don't think I've been too badly affected by some of these things, but there's probably someone out there that has been seriously affected by some of the things that big companies have done. And you've got to think there's got to be people out there that are hungry for some kind of revenge because they feel that life is just so unfair. But the way that I see this issue, because I do perceive in many cases, and I'm sure you do too, life to be a bit like, why does it have to really work this way? Because it just doesn't work for my personal situation. It just doesn't work for the skill set that I have. Why does the internet, for me personally, this is definitely one of the things that I'm just like, I really hate how the world has to work this way. I'm really not that technologically savvy, nor am I interested in the whole new tech mediums. I don't care about social media. The whole people that say that you must have like social media to have any kind of financial freedom in future, it annoys me, because I do still have some sort of platform with the YouTube channel, but it's the whole kind of, you must have like good amount of TikTok followers if you want to be successful. You must have a good like business page on Instagram if you want to be successful. That stuff just really annoys me, because that's just not something that I want to be interested in, because social media to me is just such a cancerous place. I don't want to get involved with it whatsoever. But that's just my personal opinion. That's one of the things that I'm like, why must the world have developed this kind of way where being smart with social media is such an advantage? Because I'm not smart with it at all. I really just don't like it. Like I record these YouTube videos and that's about it. I don't have any sort of other knowledge about social media that can help me build what I've got here. So I'm kind of stuck, limited with that. I much prefer life to be a bit less sort of corporate and a bit less technological and internet based. I much prefer us to actually be more natural, more instinctive, more sort of human based, more community based, more tribal based, and all that sort of stuff. That would benefit me. Obviously, it wouldn't benefit some people, so I can see why society has developed that way, because more people would prefer it to be that way than not. But there are people that would prefer it to be that way that have other things in life that sort of they dislike about the world and stuff. So they can seem that life is a bit unfair, but life is a bit unfair to everyone in different kind of ways. And however you perceive life to be unfair to you, I consider it to just be some kind of fuel, whatever you want to call it, to progressing through life. The things that sort of bring you down, the unfairnesses, the way that like, oh, why do these big companies have so much power and they adversely affect our health by putting things, not like necessarily intentionally and maliciously, but why do they have to get away with it despite the fact that there's been multiple sort of times people have told them that, oh, this is like bad for the society that we live in. Then they just kind of ignore it and say that, oh no, it's fine and stuff, because they don't want there to be scandals. They don't want them to have to change their products and their costs to like skyrocket and all that sort of stuff. So that's just an explanation for that. But it's the kind of fuel that you want. You want the why do they have to like get away with this? Why do the companies get away with there being BPA in the plastic water bottles, and that adversely affecting our fertility and our children's reproductive health and all that sort of stuff? Why are they getting away with that? Surely there should be some kind of compensation, some sort of thing. At least that's for people that's the kind of random thoughts that I may get on some timely basis. But I just use that as some sort of fuel to help develop myself more, because when you develop yourself more, when you become increased in both social status and internal status, how well you see yourself and how like well you've done in life, whether it's physically, whether it's financially and stuff like that, the more power you have to actually be able to change those issues. So the more that you sort of think about it now, the more you should use it as fuel to actually help solve these issues once you have the means to do so. Because there are people out there that have the means to do so but just aren't motivated to, because their issues lie elsewhere. So you developing yourself to fight these issues when you have the power to, that is a great motivation for you to go through self-improvement on. But with that, I recommend subscribing for more content like this, and have a good day.